Leo believed the future was a door to be kicked open. He arrived at the legendary Horologist Guild, not with a desire to learn, but with a plan to revolutionize. He saw their masterpieces not as art, but as relics dusty and slow in a world he was determined to make fast. They were stuck, he thought. All this tradition was just dead weight. He had the future in his hands. A sleek, digital device showing a clock design he was certain would change everything. But the future he offered was a language no one there was willing to hear. Master Ilara, the guild's leader, didn't even look at his device. Instead, she pointed a wrinkled, knowing finger to a dusty, broken grandfather clock in the corner. She gave him his first task. Not to build, but to repair. Not to innovate, but to understand. If you find stories like this inspiring, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel. It helps us create more content just for you. The old clock fought him at every turn. It was a puzzle built in a forgotten language, and Leo, a native speaker of code and circuits, was utterly lost. His frustration grew with every stubborn gear that wouldn't fit, every complex spring that defied his logic. He was on the verge of giving up, convinced the task was impossible, a punishment for his ambition. But in his frustration, he found a key. Tucked away in a hidden compartment at the clock's base was a dusty, leather-bound journal. It wasn't a manual. It was a confession. The journal of the first master. It was a story of 100 failures that led to one success, of a lifetime spent learning why certain woods held a chime better than others, why specific gear needed an odd number of teeth. I thought they were resistant to change, he realized, but they weren't. They were resistant to ignorance. Every gear, every piece of wood, was a lesson paid for in time and failure. They weren't building clocks. They were building on the shoulders of ghosts. Leo's expression shifted from frustration to fascination. He started visiting the guild's vast library, losing himself in ancient texts and schematics. He stopped trying to speak, and for the first time, he began to listen to the whispers of history, to the silent wisdom of the machine. He was no longer just fixing a clock. He was reading a story, a legacy written in brass and wood. He abandoned his digital device. He put it away in a drawer, its glowing screen, a distraction from the tangible reality before him. His focus narrowed to a single, perfect task. To master the present. The present wasn't a stepping stone to be rushed past. It was the entire world. He learned the language of the gears, the soul of the wood, the subtle rhythm of a balanced pendulum. His hands, once clumsy and impatient, became steady and sure. He moved with a newfound purpose and grace, expertly cleaning and assembling the ancient clock's mechanism. The other masters, who had once viewed him with skepticism, started to watch him, their heads nodding in quiet, respectful approval. They saw not an arrogant boy, but a craftsman in the making. He didn't just fix the clock. He came to understand it so deeply that he made it better, more accurate than it had been in a century, using only the old methods he had once scorned. In the quiet of the workshop, Leo gently started the clock's pendulum. A deep, resonant chime filled the hall, a sound pure and true. Master Ilara looked on, a gentle smile gracing her lips. The future wasn't the enemy of the past. It was simply the next tick of the clock, and you couldn't build the next one until you understood the last. My hands finally understood what my mind couldn't. Respect is not demanded. It is earned in the currency of competence, in the silent, steady work of the present moment. Leo had finally paid his dues. Then, one day, the future arrived, not as an opportunity, but as a threat. A wealthy patron, a man who represented the changing tides of the market, came to the guild. He didn't come to commission a masterpiece. He came to show them their competition. A mass-produced, cheap digital clock that was outselling their handcrafted treasures. The masters were worried, debating amongst themselves in hushed, anxious tones. Their tradition, their very livelihood, felt threatened by this faceless, soulless future. The air was thick with uncertainty. In that moment of crisis, Leo, now a respected member of their community, stepped forward. He didn't hold up his old digital device. He didn't speak of obsolescence or the need to tear everything down. Instead, he calmly unrolled a new blueprint on a heavy wooden table. It was a hybrid design, a bridge between two worlds. It depicted a beautiful, mechanical clock, its gears an escapement, a clear tribute to the guild's history. But integrated within it was a single, elegant, digital, complicational compass. This compass, however, didn't point north. Synced via a simple app, it pointed towards a person's most cherished memory. "We don't have to abandon our soul to stay relevant," he said to the masters. "We can build a clock that not only tells time, but tells a story. A clock that has a memory, a clock that honors our past while pointing to a meaningful future." And this time, they listened it, not just because his idea was brilliant, but because the man presenting it had proven he had earned the right to draw the map because he had shown he understood the terrain. Trust is built on a three-legged stool. The first leg is understanding where we came from, the history. The second is mastering where we are, the present. And the third, earned only by the first two, is the right to guide where we are going, the future. The guild came together, a beautiful fusion of a gold wisdom and new world vision. Leo, Ilera, and the other masters worked side by side. Their collaboration, a dance of shared respect. The final product was revealed, a stunning masterpiece of wood, brass, and a subtle, glowing light. It was more than a clock. It was a legacy reborn. In the final, quiet moment, a young child looked at their family's new clock. The compass hand, a delicate piece of technology housed in a timeless frame, gently turned to point towards a picture of their family on the wall. Leo stood with Ilera looking at their creation. He was no longer the arrogant boy who had arrived demanding the future. He was a true master who had earned it. Don't just talk about the future. Earn it. Build it on a foundation of respect for the past and mastery of the present. Only then will people not just hear your vision. They will help you build it. Thanks for watching.